When we looked at order of precedence, we discovered that there's an order in which Excel performs calculations. If you ever need help evaluating a formula, Excel can step through it for you so that you can see how it works. Let's go back to this formula that we discussed earlier, equal 4 plus 3 times 2. From the Formulas tab on the ribbon, I can click this button, Evaluate Formula, and Excel will step us through how it evaluates this formula. And you can see, not surprisingly, it's going to perform the multiplication first. 3 times 2 is 6, then it will add 4 to it, and we get the answer 10. Here's a more complex calculation, and I've written it out in full for you here. It's 2 plus 3 squared minus 5 plus 2 times 3. The caret symbol here in the formula is raised to the power of, and because the number 2 is after it, we've got 3 squared in our formula. Let's go and see how Excel would evaluate that. With the cell containing the formula selected, I'm going to click the Formulas tab and click Evaluate Formula. This time, not surprisingly, Excel is going to calculate 3 squared first of all. That's 9. Now it's going to add 2 and 9 to get 11, and it's going to subtract 5. Then it's going to complete this multiplication, and finally the addition. Now Excel hasn't performed that calculation exactly the way we might have expected. We would certainly expect it to do this calculation first, but we might have expected it to do the multiplication. But the result it has achieved is exactly the same as if it had been done in that order. So the order of precedence is being adhered to. Now let's look at a really quite complex formula. This is one that calculates the period payments on a loan. We've borrowed a amount of money. We've borrowed $250,000 at 5% over 30 years. That gives us 360 payment periods and a monthly interest rate of 0.42%. This is the calculation of the monthly payment amount, and we'll have a look and see how Excel calculates that. From the Formulas tab on the ribbon, I'll select Evaluate Formula. The first thing it's going to do is replace C4 in the formula with the actual value from cell C4. So I'll click Evaluate, and this is 0.42%. It's just the longer version of it. Here I've got it formatted in the cell, so it's only showing 2 decimal places. This is the actual calculation. Next, it's going to replace the reference to cell C5 with the actual loan amount, $250,000, and then it's going to perform the multiplication. And what we have here is the beginnings of our calculation. We've multiplied interest by amount. The next thing Excel is going to do is to replace the cell C4 reference with the actual interest rate. That's this I here. And then it's going to calculate this addition, 1 plus I. Then it's going to go ahead and replace the reference to cell C6 with the actual number of periods, 360. And then it's going to calculate this calculation. It's going to raise 1 plus I to the minus 360. And then it's going to subtract all of this from the number 1. And finally, it's going to perform this division. And that gives us the result of a monthly payment of $1,342.05. At any time you want to see how Excel evaluates a formula, what cell references are being replaced with, and how the formula is calculated, the Evaluate Formula tool can help you. It's an easy way to see how a formula is being calculated, and if you're having problems with a formula, then it can help you identify where the problems might be.